Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the farm. It is Saturday, the 4th of November, 2023, and I'm David with Nelson Creek Farms, coming to you today on what so far is a pretty nice day. Got a little something that's a new toy I want to show you. Plus, we're going to get a delivery of some pellets for the wood stove, which is going on today, and a few other little projects. So hang tight, we'll get right to it. Well, there's a little something that'll get your attention right quick. Yeah, a little water snake. See him zipping along there? Yeah. He's probably heading somewhere to find a hole to crawl into for the winter. Best of luck to you, buddy. Those little water snakes startled me at first, I'll admit it, when I first spot them, but yeah, they don't bother much. Well, first thing we got to do though, before we do anything else, is we got to get the LS tractor out of the shed here, because I got the guy coming with another pallet of pellets. I'm going to see if I can't have him squish those around a little bit in there so they'll fit side by side. These little three-wheel forklift things are kind of a neat little contraption. I'm buying my wood pellets for the heating season from the local hardware store here in town. They are a little bit more than what the in-town job was charging per pallet, but at almost $100 for delivery fee, yeah, it just quickly makes that evaporate into nothing. Well, now all I gotta do is clean up that little bit of spilled pellets from that first pallet that I got into. I'd rather have these two that are still sealed up here in the shed where they're gonna be protected for the winter. Next thing up is to get a bunch of these bags of pellets into the house so I can burn them this winter for fuel in that little stove I got in the living room. Keeps the whole house warm. Anyway, some of you have showed a great deal of interest in the attachment I made for the blowing out the sprinklers. So I think what I will do is do a follow-up on that on the next how-to tips and tricks video in the middle of next week. Plus, I had some comments about the LED lighting in the shop. So I'm going to get some of those bulbs and we're going to cover that and show you how those work and discuss that a little bit. And a few other ideas that I've had for lighting the home in the wintertime in case there's a power failure. So yeah, first things first though, got to get these things in the house. How about a little bit of a front door delivery, huh? Yeah. So, are you all ready to see the new toy now? Nope, not quite. We got a little bit more something else to do first. I'm going to head out here to the little pile of stuff that I moved out just before we had the auction about a month ago, and I'm going to pick up the post and rails that I took out in the fence line here behind me, and we're going to reinstall those. Yeah, if I can get things going here at the farm like I want to do, I won't be needing that entrance anymore, or at least I don't think I will. I may still end up putting in some gates back there, but for now we're going to put the fence back in for this winter. Now, a little bit of something else of interest. I had mentioned that we were looking at probably doing some sweet corn next year and maybe a pumpkin patch, and in the middle of the sweet corn we were going to do a corn maze. I actually run into a co-worker that has worked on an organic deal. So yeah, she has agreed tentatively to assist in creating the garden plot out here with the corn maze and sweet corn and the pumpkin patch and whatever else we come up with. So if I can talk her into it in the next couple of weeks, months, whatever, I will be introducing her to you. Yeah, she may not want to be in front of the camera, but at least she'll be helping out. I got to remember where I dumped all those posts and stuff. Oh, there they are. They're right there on the other side of those irrigation pipes. Yeah, we're going to get over here and get those picked up. Now, do you suppose with my news about the help doing the organic produce garden thing next year, do you suppose we can catch up with my friend Alvis over at Old Red Tractors, who contacted me a couple days ago and told me that he'd hit 1,000 subscribers? Yes, indeedy. The last I looked, we were at 593, so we got quite a ways to go to catch up with Alvis. So, don't forget, right down there, hit that big red button that says subscribe on it. I'd appreciate it. Yeah, it's not that we got any competition going, but it's kind of fun to see if we can get there. Personally, I'd like to hit 1,000 by Christmas. Doubt it'll happen, though. But you never know. The trick to reinstalling this fence is to figure out where the post holes were. And from the looks of the rails I got laid out here, this post hole must have been somewhere about here, maybe. So we're going to dig down and see if we can find it. Last couple of times I've done this, I found them pretty easily because they weren't packed very tightly. Although that's pretty tight right there. A lot of traffic been over this. Well, that wasn't too hard to find. Let me show you. Yeah, right down there. There's a little hole in the middle of the hole I'm digging. So that's where the hole is for the post. Like I said, they aren't too terrible hard to find once you go down a couple inches and you can find the existing hole that I never filled in. Yeah, it was just road traffic and whatnot. Caved it in a little. Are you ready to go see the new toy yet? Huh? Yeah, I bet you are. You're waiting to see the new toy, aren't you? Let's go take a look. Right over here. Oh, nope, not going to tell you yet. Well, that came out looking pretty decent. Putting it back in only took about 10-15 minutes. Once I got the holes dug out, yeah, it's a little bit of a chore to raise up the post to shorten the distance between point A and point B to get the rails in and that sort of thing. But it's doable. I've done it before, and it's not an impossible thing to do, and that's the only way you can replace the rails in case one of them breaks or whatever. I'll tamp the post in a little later. Right now, we are going to go take a look at the new toy before it starts to rain, because if you noticed, it's clouding up. Yeah. Well, here comes my neighbor. Yeah, I don't know which neighbor that is. Yeah, it was one of the hired guys for the neighbor that farms the property right west of me, across the street. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and see where this car is going to go. He's going to turn. We're going to go pull back in the yard and take a look at the new toy. Yeah, there it is, way back there. Oops, I almost blew your surprise. What I did do was I stopped at the pallet of pellets that the guy moved up by the garage for me, and I loaded up 17 more of them on the bucket here. So when I run low on the house, all I gotta do is fire up the tractor and drive it around there and unload them. So what happens if I need to use the tractor and the loader before then? Well, I'll just dump out those bags of pellets. Carefully though, because there are bolts sticking up from that other plate that I put on the chisel plate on the bottom of the bucket, and those bolts will tear up those bags pretty easily. But for now, we're just going to set everything back in the shed. Yeah, something kind of about like that. We're going to set them, get the LS in here as close as we can to the wall and to the bag of pallets, and we're going to set this whole thing down right there. If I end up putting the loader up there too much more, I may put a piece of plywood across there to protect those bags from the bottom ends of the arms there on the loader. And now for the thing you have been waiting to see. It's right over here. Nope, not yet. There's our new toy, folks. It's a 1950, as near as I can tell, Allis Chalmers Model B tractor with an Allis Chalmers loader on the thing, of all things. The only thing I did not get with the loader is the bucket that goes on the front end of it here. But yeah, if I can't find a bucket, this whole thing here will be up for sale or trade for some implements to go on the back end of it. It actually runs fairly well. I have driven it. I've driven it around. It does need a little bit of work. And the seat back definitely needs to come off of there. And all of this gizmo. And this hydraulic pump under here powers that loader. Now that loader is designed to work off of the tractor hydraulics. Now somebody put that big hydraulic pump on there, and believe you me, this thing shoots up like a rocket. Yeah, I was told this came from the city of Elko, Nevada. It was a city-owned tractor, and they were using it to push snow off of sidewalks and whatnot in the parking lots around the city buildings in the wintertime. Yeah, I do have some new front tires ordered for it already. They're a 400 by 15 on a 3-inch wide by 15-inch diameter rim, which I have one of. I need one for this side, because this side is actually a car or pickup rim. It's a little bit wider. I could leave those tires on there, but they're starting to crack kind of badly in a few places. That one's a minor crack compared to some. I'm going to leave the diamond tread tires on the back of the tractor for the winter because it has the chains on it, of all things. Yeah, for a little extra traction. But one thing that is going to get changed is that. That goofy nut is not supposed to be on there like that. It should have a flat-sided nut on it, kind of like that one. Yeah, so we're going to have to get in there and change that out. I can't tell you if the independent brakes work or not, because somebody's got this steel plate bolted on to the pedals, and they drilled holes through the pedals, the buggers. So yeah, I don't like that. I'm going to end up fixing that. I'll either end up replacing the whole pedal assembly to get pedals that aren't buggered up, or I'll find somebody that can weld up those holes decently and grind them off smooth and make it all nice and shiny, and then we'll paint it. Yeah, one of my OCD things. Yeah, it fires right up. Once it warms up and it gets fuel in the carburetor, it does run fairly well. This is the trip lever for the bucket that isn't on it. It has a typical Fairbanks Morse Allis Chalmers FJ or whatever it is magneto that works fairly well. And if we come down under here, yep, well, we'll go up and over. We've got pretty good oil pressure. Yeah, look at that, it comes right up. So, yeah, that's a good thing. I really don't know what that bolt is for right there sticking out of the manifold, but it's going to get probably a new manifold put on this thing to eliminate that. The tractor has been converted to a 3-wire GM style alternator setup. And if we come back here, it is charging. Yeah, it's charging the battery right there right now. Most of the sheet metal on the tractor is fairly good. The grill's a little buggered up though in a few spots, especially down here at the bottom. I said bottom. Yeah, I did. Kind of looks like a fat person's butt in a swimsuit. A lot of cellulite. Ooh, love it. The only apparent leaks that I have seen on this thing so far are with the oil filter assembly where it bolts onto the side of the block. It seems to dribble out of there a little bit and whatnot. But I'm going to drive it around, see if I need to change the thermostat gauge that's up here on top of the upper thermostat, pokes through the hood there, that chrome thing. And yeah, so it's going to need a little bit of touch-ups here and there, and we'll make it happen. Whether or not I keep this thing as a 12-volt battery charging system is up for grabs yet. If I decide to keep it as a 12-volt starting system, I'm going to have to take the starter in and have the outer windings replaced with some 12-volt windings, because right now that pinion gear is slamming hard into the flywheel's ring gear, and yeah, I don't want to damage anything there by doing that. So who knows, I may have a 6-volt generator or two floating around here. I may convert it back to 6-volt. Now, because this thing actually does run, I need to get rid of that hydraulic pump off of that thing, and I probably need to get rid of the loader, pull it off of there as well by next spring. The reasoning behind that is actually really simple. The Super A and my Super C are not running yet, so I can't use them as a cultivating type tractor for the garden plots when we get to doing the fresh produce next spring. So this little bugger is going to have to get pressed into service. So in order to do that, I've got to get a 3-point hitch kit for the back end of this thing, get that pump off so I can install the hitch, and I'll probably have to remove all this loader contraption too. Doesn't look bad on the little B, but let me tell you what, for an old fat guy like me, trying to climb into that seat right there, yeah, you got to put your foot down here, you got to put another foot up on here, and try to put something over here to stand on, and then up there, and then swing around, get underneath the seat, or underneath the steering wheel and sit down on the seat. Yeah, it's not really a doable situation. So what I need to do is get one of those steps that you can buy that are aftermarket that go right here on these 2 bolt holes, or somewhere down in there anyway, and put a step on there so I can swing up on this thing and plop my butt down on it. You should have seen me trying to get off of it the other night. I actually ended up having to swing my feet up over the fender right here and over the tire and then sliding off. Well, one of these lovely chains, or one of these things, or that thing, ended up catching the back pocket of my jeans. Yeah, I heard a loud rip, and it wasn't from eating at Taco Bell. There's been a lot of jokes about Allis-Chalmers tractors, but quite honestly, folks, I really love these little things. There's a lot of different models that use the same engine, basically, and transmission. The Model B and the Model C use the same engine and transmission. The only difference between them is the C has the wider rear axles, so that you can cultivate 2-row crops instead of 1 like you can with this thing. And I do love that little arched wishbone shaped axle on the front end of this thing. It's kind of cute. This is the second one of these that we've had here on the farm. The first one went away in 2004, and it has since basically deteriorated into nothing, and it was a good machine other than it needed a head gasket or a valve cover gasket or something. But anyway, yeah, it's long gone, so I'm glad to have another one of these back. Yeah, love them to pieces. Good piece of equipment. And if I get the right attachments to go on the back end of it, it'll be a good little cultivating tractor. But yeah, in the meantime, I think the loader's going to come off, and if I can get dimensions for it, or find one, I may put a bucket back on here, and then get a C-Alice with the wide front and put the loader back on it. But that brings me back to it. One of the reasons why I love them, I started to tell you, is the B's and the C's had the same engine. Well, the late B engine is the same as in the C's and in the CA tractor that they came out with. That one is basically a C with adjustable rear wheels and wide front end. The wheels can move in and out. So you can adjust it to whatever row crop you're working on. This engine was also, the early version of this engine, was also in the model RC, which was basically the Allis-Chalmers WC, which was their big row crop tractor at the time, with just the smaller motor in it. So, yeah, the thing that really got me to love them is that arched front axle. I like the color orange. And years ago, a magazine called Antique Power had an article on the Alice Chalmers B, and it was entitled something like The Tractor That Could or The Engine That Could. Yeah, very capable machine. Very, very capable machine. Love them to pieces. Anyway, that's going to end it up for today. This is the new surprise that we got here on the farm. I am looking for one 3-inch by 15-inch front wheel, if anybody knows the one that's around, or implements somewhere close to southern Idaho that I can get with my little Ranger pickup. You know, I would love to have some implements to go with this, but we'll see about that down the line. And probably I'll just buy some new stuff that's smaller that'll work on a 3-point hitch for the back end. Anyway, as always, I'm Farmer Dave, wishing you well, thanking you for subscribing. And we do have 2 or 3 new subscribers in the last couple of days. I appreciate that. And yeah, the goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of Christmas there. Keep up with my friend Alvis over at Old Red Tractors. Anyway, check out his channel too. If I can figure out how to do it, I'll put a link down below in the description for his channel. And yeah, check him out. Anyway, we'll catch up with you later. And y'all be careful out there. Be kind and courteous to your friends and neighbors. That's the new motto. Anyway, we'll catch up with you later. Bye-bye for now.